Listen, man, this is an episode of the Standout Podcast where, this is all new to me, doing the band shit, being around it. But I'm here with somebody right now that I knew from high school. He was big into music in high school, and then he took it to a whole nother level once he left. The group around him, the group of people, the artists that he with, from, his producer to the guitarist that's here, Mo G, Chuck. I mean, these guys dropped the album that I never even expected would sound like the way it does. Right now, I'm with ft.Baharally, the boy Andrew,
Don't know.
the boy Mo G, the boy Chuck Bass. There's more members, but right now we here right now on the Standout Podcast. What's popping with y'all?
Shit, what's good with you, Austin, bro? Long time no see, dog.
Chilling, man. Just
crazy.
trying to get this podcast shit off the ground, man.
No, you already know.
Yeah.
You already know. Am I the first person from high school who's been on the podcast?
Yeah, man.
Damn,
definitely
that's
for the
crazy.
first one. But you're the first one to ever do really music and really take it seriously from out here.
Word?
Yeah.
Damn. I haven't really been keeping up with everybody from school, so I don't know,
Yeah, me, I don't really either, but I know that I tried, but I ain't doing it on the level that y'all doing it right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just tell me a little bit about it, man, Andrew, and everybody could chime in. When this whole thing came together, I know it started as Warely Sound.
Warely Sound,
Right. You know what I'm saying? And you guys were doing studio sessions and you guys were working together. So talk about the years and the process of this coming up.
It's a lot. It came through many different renditions and many different faces throughout the years. But it really started because I had a very, very primitive upbringing, like in the American music industry.
Right.
Like my entire life was more so like dancehall and reggae and like Bollywood music. So up until I got to high school and really like college, through people like you, honestly,
Right.
shout out to Austin, bro, because like this is one of the OG music heads that like really like you used to sit there and like freestyle, and it used to blow my mind genuinely. I used to make you and Brandon, shout out to Brandon too. I used to make them sit there and freestyle, yo, because like it was so foreign to me. I was used to such a different palette of music that experiencing like rap and hip hop. Obviously like I was like a radio kid. I'd only listen to things on the radio. I didn't know albums were really a thing up until I got like older. I was like 17, 18, going into college when I really like got into diving into select artists and their albums and stuff like that. And so I guess being exposed so old to a concept that was so like, people knew about.
Foreign.
Yeah, it was so foreign to me. So, I was like a kid exploring, like, and I just wanted to know everything, and I couldn't, there's not enough time. There's not enough time, bro. There's not. So it's like, I would meet niggas like Mo G, feel me, and he would put me on to people like Pac and Biggie. And like, these are the first times I'm hearing these types of artists, because my parents are not showing me that music. You feel me? I'm growing up in a whole different household and a whole different environment. Obviously, I get exposed in like, small little doses, but on a big scale to actually dive into like, the reputation and the legacy certain people left behind musically and the impact it left on the world, like that was something completely new to me. So I guess that's where it all started for me, from like a consumer standpoint, just being able to like, indulge in like somebody else's artistry and realize the emotions and like the pictures these people can paint with nothing more than sound. I can't see nothing. I can't feel nothing, like I can just hear it. It's in my head, like, is it even there? Like, so it really got me into like this state of mind of like realizing the energy and like the power behind music. And that's what sparked me into like doing it myself, because I was always around people like, once again, like you, from young that would do like freestyles, or they would like, make beats or, rap battles and shit like that, So I was always around all these artists, and it seemed like everybody in my life that mattered to me to any degree was somehow involved in music in some way, except for me, except for me. And it was crazy, bro, because music was always in my life. I was playing trombone from 3rd grade, I picked up drums in high school and stuff, but I never did it with a purpose. I did it just because I was good at it. And, and like, it was a class, it was an elective. I'm just doing it just to do it, And unfortunately, like after like I left high school, I put it down. And that's probably my only musical regret I have, is putting down the drums, putting down the trombone. I should have kept doing that shit, because later on now I meet this dude working, Mo, right? And he asked me, he's like, yo, do you know anybody who like needs beats? And at first I'm like, nah, like I don't need no fucking beats, like, feel me? But then I started thinking about it, and I know, and I know niggas like, feel me, like 86 Paper, and I know niggas like TE and shit like that. I'm like, actually, come to think about it, I might know some people who might want to collaborate with you. You feel me? And then bro goes into like, I mean, you could talk about that some more. You feel me?
So go ahead, Mo. Tell him what's up.
I've been making beats since I was 11 years old on FL. So you know what I mean? So for me, it's like second nature, man. Music is second nature.
It's like playing a video game.
You know what I mean? So, and even you know, to before I make his point, like I was kind of like him. I didn't really know you could make money off of this. Like, you know what I mean? Even making it since a young age, people just listening to it, saying they like it, and you know, I just went off of that and just kept going. But so, you know, years later, I get a job. I meet Drew, you know, and he don't even work the same schedule as me. He working the weekends,
right? And
I'm working I'm working throughout the week, so we're only seeing each other like on Fridays. You know what I mean? We only see
like
each
4
other.
hours.
For like 4 quick hours, and then just within those little quick hours, you know, I asked him if he knew anybody that wanted some beats or anything. Of course, I'm out there hustling. I'm literally asking everybody. I'm asking my manager if he know anybody who want beats. Like I'm going hard with it, you know. It was that time, it was that era in my life, you know. And he just, you know, he caught an interest in it and started asking me about it. You know, I started showing him some of the stuff that me and my mans was doing. Me and my man's Jay, who ain't here right now either. He a part of the gang too, and that's LOE. You know what I mean? And then, you know, like I said, he started getting interest. I started showing him like Pac.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's
Pac
how we dove into history.
You know what I mean? You know, so Nas,
right,
the greatest lyricist of all time.
Shit.
Right? You know,
no facts.
I'm showing him
definitely,
that,
man.
You know, and then you know, and
one thing
next thing you know, one thing just piled on. Months later, he called me up. He like, yo, I built the studio in my garage, man, and I'm like, yo, I swear to God, yo, and I looked at the phone like, build the studio. Yeah, I'm gonna hit you back, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Months
like,
went by after that.
You had to think about that one, huh?
More months kept going by. Like he come through. You know what I mean? We're doing a business transaction,
right?
And then he mentioned it again. And I'm like, you know what, yo, I'm gonna go and check it out. Yeah, I'm gonna go and check it out, man. When I ever went and seen what he did in his garage, bro, it blew my mind.
It blew my mind, yo. Like
for real.
You gotta see it now, bro.
Oh my God, you gotta see it now, bro. You gotta see it now, man. But yeah, man, and then I'll let you take it back from there.
Yeah,
man.
so to continue what Mo was saying, basically, like when I met him at work and stuff, he would put me on to like all these different artists. He would start showing me beats. You know, he was the first person to really like show me the business side of music. You know, like I didn't know that music was actually like a business industry. You know, up until that point, I thought it was something more so like a hobby or something people were doing on the side, but like almost like say like you drew like a painting and then somebody wants the painting, they buy it from you type of shit, right? You feel me? Like, so I thought it was more so what is it called? Like freelancing. You know, I never thought it was actually like like there's entire like contracts and business transactions and tour dates and merch and like you're getting paid from this and that, and then like there's also a whole side of it where like if you're a producer, you can like have artists come through and you can like be recording instruments, or you be recording people doing vocals, or you could be making your own shit. Like I didn't realize there was that much depth to it, you know, like I didn't, and then he's the one who really put me on. He's like, no, bro, like you can make fucking money off of this shit, dude. This is not some shit you're doing for free, right? So I'm like, wait, well, how are you making? I'm like, how? I'm like, because like
that's always the good question. You know, how the fuck do we get money from this?
For real. Because especially for me, I'm like so foreign to the concept of like how music is actually created. Because once again, most people live on the consumer side of things, so you never see the studio. I mean, now it's like social media, you can kind of dive a little deeper, but like back then, like it wasn't so out there where everybody was like very upfront with like them doing music and stuff like that. So he showed me like the concept of like going to the studio and like how beats are started and like sampling, especially this dude with samples, bro.
I mean, I don't rap on emoji beat, trust me.
Let's do it. And that was a fire track too, man.
That shit was bro. Listen, man,
I had a verse to that too, man. But I just let you have it after that. Man. Like, I was like, yo, he killed.
Listen, from Aaliyah to EDM, this dude could chop up just about anything.
Yes. They're not ready for that.
No.
They're not ready for that. They're not ready for that. But so he teaches me all these different concepts and stuff, right? Around the same time, I had my boys TE, 86 Paper, my boy KB what's his rap name? Lil Berkey or something like that.
Lil Birkin.
He changes it every 30 seconds.
At the time I was around you, it was KHB or some shit.
Yeah. And then my boy MGB, right? So I had these 4 dudes were like my day ones that I grew up with. I knew some of these dudes since they was babies in diapers. You feel me?
Shout out them.
Yeah, shout out them. Shout out them. Yo, I love y'all niggas. But anyways, I was around them since they were like growing up. And like I said, everybody around me that I really loved was doing music to some degree. So all these dudes are going to like sporadic studio sessions here and like recording in like closets and like, you know, going to places that were charging them like way more for way less quality than what they were getting. But regardless, once again, I know this now, but I didn't know this then. So to me, it's a brand new thing. I'm like, yo, you going in front of a mic and like there's this person, there's like a board with things on it. It's like it's all moving. So it's like it was all just cool to me, right? So I just wanted to be around to be in the experience of like being in the musical creation process, right? Yeah. So, you know, I start hanging out with them. I started like, you know, partaking in like the studio sessions to the, like, you know, critiquing them a little bit. And like obviously, once again, I'm pretty much the shyest kid in the room at this point, you know, because this is a brand new concept to me. But long story short, we ended up getting an opportunity to go meet Brockhampton in New York through one of my other boys, right? Yeah, shout out my boy Dom, shout out John, all y'all dudes.
Shout out Dom Lemon, man.
Yeah, done know. So we had an opportunity to go meet them. So we wanted to go see a show, and then we went to go to their studio, and they let us rock with a couple of tracks and stuff like that, right? And at the time, there was no group, right? It was like my boy doing this and my boy doing that, and my boy doing this, and this guy is just starting. So everybody was kind of in their own space. And there was one point where we were chilling with the band, and we started like playing like the different like singles everybody had. And stuff. They're like, yo, this is dope. Are you guys a group? Are you guys a group? And they're like, nah, like not really. But like, feel me, we kind of like all fuck with each other and shit like that. You know, like we should probably make music.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I was just gonna ask you, like,
yeah,
because the creation of it. Because at first, T was over here. He was over there. This one was over there. That one was over there. Yeah. I didn't really start seeing it until last year that you guys became a full functioning group. So CC Span, I just wanted to know that.
Yeah. So once again, everybody's like doing like their own individual artistry and stuff. And then after we like pulled up on them, we were going to another show a couple months later. And the spark that everybody got from that caused like everybody to like come together and like start collaborating on music and shit like that. And I still up till this point not involved in the musical creation process. I at this point was just managing like the group, so to say, you know, like getting the studio sessions.
You like the Barry Gordy of this shit.
Yeah, I'm like the glue. You feel me? I'm like the glue. So it's like I was started like, you know, pulling up to more sessions, and we started like really hashing out like the Whaler Gang album, right? Boom. Ended up releasing the Whaler Gang album. Unfortunately, what happened with that is we ended up hitting like roadblocks where like when we handed the work off to somebody else to get their part done, they weren't business with it. You feel me? So it's like it wasn't done.
Yeah, I always wondered what happened to that album, because that album, from what I heard, was definitely one of those where it sounded just like this album, where I was like, what the fuck is Andrew doing in the garage?
Yeah, exactly. You know? Yeah, exactly. Yep. But at this point, there wasn't no garage.
They're losing their mind.
At this point, there still wasn't like there was no like studio at this point. You feel me? This is even before. This is around the time where like me and Mo are still like working together type shit. You feel me? Like maybe like just like a little after that. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, so boom, we make the project, we pull up. You know, we got to a point where like we had to hand the work off to somebody else to do their part because they had the better equipment, the better setup, whatever. And it wasn't done like in a timely manner, or it wasn't done like to like the expectation we expected. So we were like, damn. And what ended up happening is like it killed everybody's motivation. You know, it ended up like blowing down everybody's motivation. So I was like the only person that was like, dude, like, no, like this is not supposed to happen. We need to like say fuck that situation and make a whole new situation. You feel me? And like figure out a way to like go around that. And I ended up taking it upon myself to like, this is when I ended up building the studio, because I'm like, all right, boom. I was already, you know, doing business, as they say, you know, and I was deep into business where it was like, all right, I need to like shift my focus into something else, you know, and do something more like concrete, more productive with my time that's more worth it, you know? So I'm like, all right, let me invest in something from the ground up. What am I going to invest in? And I guess I just came to an epiphany at that moment where it's like, oh, everybody around me is trying to do music, and we're clearly struggling with, you know, getting like the right setup or the right producer or the right this, the right that. So I'm just gonna do this shit myself, you know? So I just built the spot so like my peoples could come record there. It wasn't even for me, you know? It's just so like my peoples would have the opportunity to go there and like have a spot. And it didn't end up being received the way I thought it was gonna be received, you know? Like the space wasn't being utilized like as frequently and as effectively as I wanted to. And here I am with like a studio. It's 6 months later. I'm not really doing anything. I'm like, yo, fuck it. I'm just gonna try to do this shit myself. You feel me? So I'm like, all right, boom. So I started learning how to like mix and produce, and then I ended up picking up the drums again, buying the kit, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm like doing music every single day, and I just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into like what I'm exploring, because once again, all of it's foreign. So I went through like being a lyricist, being a producer, drumming, piano, putting all that together, arranging, and then I'm working with a bunch of different artists now, because it's like as time goes on, like I meet people like Steve, Mo ends up coming through, Chuck ends up coming through, so like people are just getting added into this situation where it's like, yo, I do this and I do this and I do this. I'm like, all right, dope, how can we make this all work together, like under like one thing? And it came into like a bunch of different like renditions where it's like, all right, maybe we'll do live stuff and then we'll record, or maybe we'll just do digital shit and then we'll try to figure it out live, or like maybe we'll record this or we'll record that. But it ended up being a wide array of talent coming through and putting down their ideas, and at the time, like I ended up falling in love with playing the drums and producing. And the specific part of producing that I enjoy the most is arranging. You feel me? Right. I like doing like arrangements and like the structuring of the song. That's what I enjoy the most out of everything. Yeah. So here I am in a position where like I have the space and I have the talent. Right. And having been around other like studio setups and seeing how other people ran their studios, I decided not to run mine like that. Because a lot of times there's a paywall, and I feel like artistry is blocked by like a paywall, by like having to pay too much money, or having to be in a situation where it's like, you can't rely or trust that the producer is going to do what they claim they know what they're trying to do, like what you're trying to get done out of it. And it's like, okay, how am I going to make it different? Because I want to be in an environment where like the people I care about can make music freely and not have any additional outside pressure. People got enough to deal with when it comes to like kids and this and that. Yeah. And like I said, my main thing was arranging, and like producing like the finished, like putting the components together, so it's like, I'm gonna run my studio for free, like I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna run this shit for free under the concept of like, okay, you can record for free as long as you're willing to collaborate with everybody.
Right. And I think when I look at it, that's just such a fucking crazy story, how you went from not knowing shit about music,
nothing, bro,
to literally being like Berry Gordy, to literally being a Dr. Dre, to literally being something like that. So when you step into this area and you got the people around you now, you got your family, you got the people that are gonna come fuck with you and everything. What is it like now? What are you telling yourself in that moment? Like, okay, we're gonna try to get into this ft.Baharally shit. We're gonna try to do this. Do you start assigning parts? Do you start letting people know this is your talent? We're going to keep you here. This is your talent. Or are you just letting everybody, you're putting a beat out there and saying, yo, we're going to try to write to this today, and whatever happens, happens?
I feel like the studio sessions go 100 different ways so frequently, like, in terms of like everybody's role, I feel like we got lucky, in the fact that everybody that's involved kind of does like their own thing. It's kind of like unspoken. It's like knows what their role is. That's fucking dope. Yeah, exactly. That's like Chuck, for example, like is a phenomenal bassist. You feel me? It's not to say that somebody else in the group can't play bass, but he's phenomenal at playing the bass. He can also play guitar. You feel me? Same thing with me. It's like I can play the kit and I can play a bit of the piano, and I can produce. But am I the only one that can do those things? No. Everybody has like their own strengths, and it's like, I wouldn't try to dunk in a room of like 7-footers, Right. Okay. I get you. Exactly. That's so, I mean, I don't restrict anybody, like if Chuck one day wants to play the drums, I'll let, like, it's happened. I've picked up the bass and tried to fuck with the bass, he's picked up the guitar and tried to play with the guitar. Switching it up keeps the dynamic fresh, I feel like everybody can do what they want to do. When it comes to making the actual songs, it's sporadic, dude. Sometimes like we just pull up and it's just a jam, and everybody just starts playing something for like an hour and a half, and we go through like 10, 20 different renditions of like some type of musical thing. And maybe we hit one really good thing 33 minutes in. So when we listen back to it, you take like a group consensus, because like I said, most of the time I'm working in a group with at least 3 other people. A lot of times it's a full house, 9 people, 8 people, like a bunch of different like artists, and you can feel the vibe. Dip. Yeah, shout out Lil Dip. Facts. All of them. Yeah, but you can definitely feel the vibe when like certain songs or certain like segments of jams are like just hitting right with everybody, or certain lyrical takes and stuff. So I feel like it's a lot easier to get dope sounding stuff because you have everybody under the premise of like, well, this is music that we're all making together, and if I love it as much as you love it, then you should be giving me the critique.
Yeah, man, that's why I was gonna ask you that instant reaction to music and being in a band. how has that helped you guys also get better in a way? Because now when you're creating, it's instantly boom. You know if it's hot or not. You can tell by the reactions in the room.
Yeah.
So how has that made you guys better as a band and just the cohesiveness of it, of being real, and not only that, having to push everybody and having to know, yo, this is when he's at his best. This is what's going on here and there.
Who wants to answer that? You want to answer that?
Go ahead.
I think it helps because you get the mindset where like you guys gotta be comfortable throwing everything out there. Like not everything is gonna be perfect.
Right.
You gotta see the reaction from everyone around you.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
gotta get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you gotta trust. You gotta have a lot of trust
Yes,
too.
you do.
You know,
Yeah,
because
a
it's
lot
like
of trust.
And trust, yeah.
not everything is great, and when it's a certain, like, you have to obviously learn everybody's, like, you know, social, you know, way they think and stuff,
Right,
and how to
right.
say certain things. But it's like you have to be open to that.
Yeah.
For somebody being like no,
Mhm.
you
Right.
know, or like, or this could be better, you know, or like there's been many times where like Mo, for example, is a phenomenal freestylist, phenomenal
Right,
lyricist.
right.
It'd be very like, I would be a fool to really critique him because I'm at like no level that, you know, he is at. But at the same time, like I know what his best sounds like,
Right.
you know, and I know what something that's not his best sounds like as well.
Right.
So it's like you have to be almost like confident enough in yourself to be like, you know, I think I know you well enough as an artist to tell you that you could do better.
Definitely.
You know,
Also,
and
everyone likes different things.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
you get to know what some people like. So
Mhm.
play something that's hot. They're like, oh, that's good. You
Yeah.
get to know what they likes and stuff. So.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other question I have, you know, getting into the album, you know, that's, you know, this is why we're here in the promotional. When you listen to this album, it doesn't sound, you know, sometimes like when you listen to an X album or when you listen to somebody that was multi-versatile, it sounds like they just threw up a whole bunch of shit on one album and it was just
Yeah.
like, oh, we got boom bap here, then we got soca here, then we got this. You're like, what the fuck is this person doing?
yeah,
It was the most wild shit listening to it because you found out how to merge everything together.
Mhm.
So when you think of that process and doing that and having to do that, when you're mixing this all together and you're hearing how it comes out and you're in this process, what is the, you know, long and term goal? Like hearing that shit and be like, oh shit, this is actually working.
emotion.
Emotion.
I base all my decisions off of like my emotional reaction to the track. You know, I base, like, at least personally, like how good a verse is, how good a song is, or how good the album is like how much it pulls my heartstrings. You know,
Right.
like if it's making me feel sad, if it's making me feel like triumphant, whatever the goal of the song, you know, and like how powerful that actually is, how much it feels
Right.
to me, you know, like, and that's what I gauge, like, you know, when it comes to like putting the songs in order or like putting the arrangement together, like it's just the transition of the feeling throughout the song, like emotionally. You know, I feel like if somebody listens to a song and they feel nothing, then it's probably not a song. You know, like you should hate it, you should love it. And that's the thing too about even like critiquing. Like sometimes like there will be a room of 6 people and 5 people will love an idea, but I hate it.
Right.
You know, it's like I hate it completely. And it's just
Right.
like, I feel like you have to almost realize that like love and hate are like, you know, the antithesis of
They're
each other.
synonymous, yeah.
So it's like if you really don't like something, it's probably as good as you really liking something, you know, because
Right.
it's still triggering something
Right,
in
it's
you
still
to make you
triggering.
not like it.
Yeah.
You know, it's still making
That's
you not
true.
like it. So it's almost like
Definitely.
when you start viewing things like that, it's almost like you can see things less of like, does it sound good or sound bad, rather than does it make me feel a certain way?
Right.
You know, does it make me feel the way that like the track or the artist is trying to make me feel? And that's how I gauge pretty much all my decisions. It's like, you know, how did, like, am I happy? Am I sad? Is this track that's supposed to make me angry? Is it actually making me angry? How
Right.
hype am I? And then that's what I mean. Like the room will reflect that.
Right.
You know,
Of course,
like
yeah.
even if they're not even realizing it, if it's supposed to be something that's hype, everybody will get hype.
Right.
You know, if it's supposed to be something that's sad, everybody will be like, yo, like they'll be mellowed down, you
Right,
know,
right,
but it'll
right.
still be dope. So I think that's how I make most of the decisions when it comes to like, you know, putting things together, especially from all different like variations of artists. And like that album was really nothing compared to like the amount of people we actually work with, you know, like
And
that was like, just like a taste,
Right.
you know, that was just like a
little
taste.
appetizer.
And it was just a taste because we've been doing it for years, you know.
Right.
I've been doing it for years, and at this point, it was just like, yo, I need to have a flag in the sand
Yeah,
somewhere,
yeah.
you know, to like.
And
have a
just
point
tell
of
me
reference.
about that too. Just realizing that not only do you have a lot more in the tank, but you also have to be cognizant of the way people listen to music and consume music nowadays.
Yeah.
So you guys may have had 32 tracks that you thought were all bangers, but it's like, man, we got to limit it down to this 4 because this is how people listen to music and things are so fast paced. So talk to me about the process of being like, we don't want to drop an EP. We got music with you. We got music with you. This shit's fire. But the thing is, we got to make it this way so then people could consume it. People know we're here and people know how, where we're coming from.
Yeah.
Tough decision.
Yeah. I think it's, honestly, I'll give it out to my team on this one because I think most of the people I'm involved with trust my decision making when it comes to like delegating like what goes on where and stuff like that. Because it's not like I make things by myself, like I'll come up with an idea and I'll pitch it. I'll be like, yo, like this is what I think. What do you guys think? And I feel like most of the time, people realize, like, especially depending on how much they can come through and how much they're actually involved, like how much they'll actually be represented. Like if you come through like once in a blue moon, you can't expect to be on every track, But it's like if you're like there all the time and working on songs all the time, you can almost like guarantee, quote unquote, that you would be on some type of release. Yeah. But once again, doubling it back, like when the songs are actually picked, I'm not necessarily looking at who's on the song. I don't even consider, like, once Mo records a verse or Chuck puts a bass line or Steve sings something, they're no longer Chuck, Mo, and Steve. Now you're an instrument on the song, like you're no longer your vocal, you're no longer the person that you were when you made that. It's you're adapting that to the song. The song is its own entity now. So it's like, I judge it from that perspective rather than like, oh, let me make sure like Mo has a verse on everything or like I have a verse on everything or like something like that. No, it's like you've donated yourself as an instrument. So like now you're subject to like all the other instruments around you,
Definitely.
Yeah.
And when we talk about that as well, there's a level of saturation in the game right now where people are just continually dropping every day, every week, everything. How much time do you feel like you guys are going to wait between this album and the next album to drop? Because I feel like this album needs to live just because of how heavy the content is. Like, have you guys thought about that and what's going on with that?
Yeah. So actually we were talking about it yesterday. I agree with you completely. Like I definitely felt like the album needed to sit, it needed to sit not only for like the public, but for our sakes, we needed something to like I said, like a flag in the sand for us to like almost like go back on. But we're definitely planning to like to release more things. Like I said, this project was kind of released like almost as like a ghost project. There was no promotion, there was no like anything behind it. And that's due to like a couple of different things. But at the same time, it's not gonna be something that like we're gonna keep dwelling on or letting it slow us down in the future. Like for the next project, I intend to like roll it out like the right way, promote it massively, blah, 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 blah. I honestly just wanted to see what, if any, listen, this
where
would
the
get.
numbers were.
Poke the universe kind of thing,
I feel you.
just to see like what would happen. But now it's like I said, for the future, we can pretty much roll it out however we want now, because it's like we have that. That openness.
Do you there's obviously the ideology behind the rollout. Obviously, I seen the video of you guys in the whip together, and that when that went, and then I didn't see it go out anywhere. I said, I think Andrew right now is trying to not like mean where the numbers are, mean where the group is. So when you think about another rollout, where you think of where you guys are now, what is it that you guys feel like you maybe need to develop as a group, just in-house, and maybe what it is before the next album comes out, and what you guys need to do with this album to maybe push it further and
visuals.
That's my only thing that I could say. Visuals, man. Just getting some, getting our faces out there, man. Getting us performing out there, because there's some great things going on in the studio. That
definitely.
Literally, you can just turn a camera on and viewers. I would think viewers would love to see what happens in the studio.
Definitely.
Just jam sessions turning into full, fledged songs. It's crazy.
That is definitely like the one part where we're definitely gonna have to improve on is the visual aspect, because I feel like all of us are like super talented musicians, but nobody is really a videographer. Like, nobody really like took that role. We had somebody taking that role originally, but like once again, like with business, there's always fall offs. So it's like things didn't go to plan, but it made me realize like it's something that we're gonna have to learn. Like at this stage in the game, like you can't expect. Like I can't even expect like the group that I have right now. You know, like I am out of place for even expecting like to have access to like the talent that I have right now. So for me to beg for like a talented videographer as well is almost like pushing it, you know? So I feel like it's definitely something that we're going to have to adopt upon ourselves, you know, to like consciously like integrate into like what we're doing going forward, you know? And that's what I mean, like really taking my time with like the next releases going forward to make sure like the visuals and everything else is tight in. Cause like you were just saying, it is like I'm observing a number game, you know, like I'm very foreign to social media, you know, and you probably know this cause I'm never on social media. I don't post anything, you know, like I really fell off like after like middle school because and that's my personal problem that I'm gonna have to conquer as well, is like everything on social media I see as corny, you know. I see it as corny, and the fact that like nowadays to be a successful artist you need social media.
Do you hate this is a general question for all you guys, do you hate the fact that you need it?
Yeah,
because to me it just seems like it just seems like to me like if my art needs to speak by itself, why do I need to sit in front of a camera and tell you guys what I'm doing or promo what I'm doing?
With that.
You know what I'm saying?
100%, bro.
So explain to me the hatred for that.
100%. I just feel like, yeah, like you said, the art should speak for itself. It's almost like there's so many more steps now, you know, if you're trying to make it anywhere like decently far, you know. It's like you have to like garner image and like make sure you have content and like keep up with the posts while still creating music. You know, it's like it's a lot, dude. And I see why all these major artists have like massive teams, because like they don't have time for this shit. You know, like who has time for that, dude? Like I doubt they run their Instagrams. Like they probably just have some chick that just like snaps a picture and posts it up for them, and then boom.
Because I feel like people don't really understand that when you're creative, you're putting all into what you have to do creatively.
Yeah.
Now I have to also think about how the fuck I'm gonna flick it up in front of this house. Like I don't want to think about that. I want to go to the studio and create a fucking song.
Yeah,
I don't really care about what the fuck is going on generally. But okay, so as a group, right, this album, you know, you guys do it, whatever it comes out, you know, obviously you're talking about promotion. What about performance value? Have you guys practiced performing? How does it sound? What's going on with that?
Yeah, so you want to talk about that? I'll talk about that. So
we perform every night.
Yeah, we perform pretty much all the time. You know, like
not in front of people, but
I got you.
That's a fact.
That's how we make majority.
A lot of our, like I said, a lot of our jams, like we'll go in there, we'll start a jam session, bro. It'll turn into a full-fledged song. But like it was just us having fun, you know. Like that's what it starts as. We come to the studio, hook everything up, and boom, next thing you know, it's a song. And then sometimes we joking in there, we singing at the end, like, you know, like
you don't even
crazy,
know. I think that's probably the most
crazy.
Magical thing about music is probably playing it live. You know, it's
that's
like it defies like explanation how like music is made in a live sense. You know, we do it every day, you know, like when like I said, when I have like sessions and people pull up, most of the time it's like me on the kit, bro. We'll pick up the bass, Steve will play guitar, bro. We'll jump on the keys. My boy will pull up with, he has like a machine. It's called Machine. You know, that he'll like plug in and like he'll collaborate and have another keyboard and a synth. So it's like half the time it just sounds like nonsense, you know, but like there's points where like everything just links. And there's no speech, you know, like nobody's talking, you know, like we're just like communicating through music, you know. So when it comes to playing live, that's definitely something we want to do. A lot of the stuff that we make is like digital, half live, half digital things, you know. So it's like trying to figure out how we're gonna like translate that live. Yeah, you know what we've come down to is pretty much we're just gonna write a dedicated live album. You know, like we're just gonna write a live album where it's like me playing the kit, bro's playing the bass, bro's on the guitar, and then we have vocalists pop in and out, depending on like what the set actually is. And we've been working on that for like a decent amount of time. Like we've been playing live for so long that we have so many songs just like in our head where like he'll hit a bass line, I'll remember a drum beat right away. Or I'll play a drum beat and he'll remember a bass line right away, you know? So we can build so many different ways and not even record it, you know, because we've already played it so many times. But yeah, we're definitely trying to get more out there and like present ourselves more in the public when it comes to like playing live.
And I think, you know, I'm gonna ask you guys this question. I feel like that was my problem. You know, when I started rapping, my dad put me in front of 1,000 people. I performed in front of Pop Smoke. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. They handed me a mic and said, go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm up there and I'm like, holy shit. Like, what did I just walk into? So tell me about being able to put in those repetitions and practice before you guys head out there and what you feel like it's going to do for your fan base and for the people that are finally getting to know Bendo Baharally.
I feel like it's gonna be quality.
Right.
You know? And yo, for a quick side note, it's just Baharally. Right. Bando is just my handle because I can't get Baharally as a tag. Yo, whoever has the Instagram tag of Baharally, you're a fraud.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it.
I really thought it was Bando because it sounded.
Yeah. It's Bando Baharally.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just the handle. But we just rock with just Baharally. But to be honest, like the fact that you're saying it probably shows it's gonna catch on. It's gonna catch on. Yeah.
Well, you guys are.
I didn't even think about it.
You guys are out of a garage too, so it just looks so good. The cover art, everything, it just merges so well together.
Yeah. Good point.
Good point. I like it. I like the way it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. Bando Baharally.
Yeah.
Bando.
And that's the thing, you know, when I first listened to the album, and it's no offense, Andrew, nothing like that. No offense, Mo G. You know, I fuck with y'all.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm getting trap beats and I'm getting TE,
I know.
auto crooning,
I know.
MHB going crazy,
I knew
right?
that. I
Talking
knew.
about sticks and all this different type of shit.
Yeah.
And I get on it, and the first song, Crispy, I feel crispy. I'm like, oh shit, they got me bopping.
Yeah.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Vibe.
So
Vibe.
when you guys are doing this, you're thinking about this and everything like that. Me and Brandon have had our problems, right? We want to see the better out of each other. We trying to get the better out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Through this process, what have you learned about each other, and how have you guys come together as a group and just better each other every day?
I feel like we work together pretty frequently, you know, pretty much like every day. It's almost like a second job for most of us. So I feel like if you've been at any like regular job for long enough, you know that like you kind of build like a family amongst your coworkers, you know? And I feel like any family knows that like no person in the family is perfect. You know, like everybody has their own little quirks and their own little things that like you're gonna have to adjust to. It's just a matter of how much it means to you. You know, like if it matters that much to you, then you will make the adjustment, you know, and be able to fit that person in your life. But if it's something that you don't really care so much about, you're probably gonna end up weaning off of it.
Right.
You know, so I guess it really comes down to how bad you want it. You know, because if you want it bad enough, and you know, if you think the people around you want it bad enough, and you know, and you can put your faith and your faith and your trust in them, then it shouldn't be any different than you putting up with a sibling,
right?
You know, or like a cousin or something. You know, you should be able to like take their faults, you know, and still see like the good, you know, within it, and be able to work around those things. You know, which I feel like we all do subconsciously. We kind of do it to the point now we don't even mention it. It's just done.
Whenever
you know,
step inside the door, it's like everything.
Everything's left behind you.
Judgment goes out the door.
Yeah, right. I feel
you gotta have that type of environment. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I try to keep the studio as like non-intense as possible.
Yeah.
You know, try to keep it as like homey feeling as comfortable as like possible, you know, because I've been in so many situations where like you walk into the studio and it's just like your heart starts racing, you know, it's just like you don't even know what's going on. You're just like nervous, you know, like I've seen people like choke on the mic. I've seen all that before. Even in my studio, you know, people choke on the mic all the time. I'm just like, dude, like, you know, take it easy. You want to go smoke, you know, like, like whatever it is, you know. But that, I feel like in those environments, the best type of music is made. You know?
I love the environment of the studio, man. It's like no other. And I'm you know, I'm an older guy, so I've been to a lot of different studios, a lot of different situations. This is the first situation I've ever been that's ever been this, you know, like there's no judgment. It's, you know, it's light in there, you know, it's like I feel good in there, you know, there's no weight on my back when I go in there. There's, you know, like I said, the most important thing to me is like there's not that much judgment. Of course, if I say something that, you know, that's corny, I want somebody to say it. You know what I mean? But you know, you know, but I know I'm not gonna be uncomfortable if somebody says it, because the way that we, you know.
You almost got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable in certain situations. Of
course.
You know?
And that's another question I have to lead to, you know, with this album. How have you guys feel like you've improved creatively through this process as well? Because I feel like not only you could come together, you could do that, but when you start really trying to get into this shit and you're playing it every day, you start seeing different shit of yourself. You got to go into Kobe mode, like, oh shit, I just unlocked a whole new type of level. So talk about that.
I can start that off because like I just said, I've been making music for a long time. I do beats, I do lyrics. Sometimes I play the keys, you know, and like occasionally I'll pick up the bass, you know, I'll pick up the bass, you know. So, you know, I like, you know, I don't want to make it seem like I did it all, but I've been through a lot, you know, and For me, my creativity is changing a lot. Like this is the first time I ever tried to get on anything that wasn't like you said.
Right.
Like you turned the CD on. You expected to hear trap beats.
Right.
You expected to hear we got sticks. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the usual things that I'm on. But I also have an other side of me that speaks politically. But this is more of like a angle that I never came off of like more of like happiness, just like he said, emotions, just speaking more about emotions and more about just like like life things instead of sticks and stuff like that, being in the hood and trying to be cool and you know what I mean, shitting on somebody throughout your rap, you know what I mean, like this is just trying to show the brotherly love, show that love could be we all could love each other, you know what I mean, like that's what I feel.
One band, one sound, basically,
you know what I mean. Yep.
Brotherhood.
Yep. Brotherhood.
It's the key to everything. I feel like it's very overshadowed, especially with like the way like men are being seen in society and stuff. Brotherhood is like kind of going out the window. But like there's a certain bond that like men can share when like they see each other as brothers that like that like transcends like anything else. The shit that you can achieve like by yourself as a man is already great. As soon as you start adding these components and people have the same drive and desire as you, it's just like there's no roof. You could just go for as long as you want to go for, and it's like that's what I've realized through this music after dropping and stuff. Like we don't even know, up to now, probably don't even know what our sound actually is, but we know what it is. Like we make shit that sounds a certain way, like just instinctively now. It's almost like without question, we don't even have to direct it. It's just like, it just ends up going, and everybody kind of knows like what everybody else wants to hear to some degree now. So it's like we can kind of play to like these different like dynamics that are, I feel like you can't really get, just like being by yourself in the studio. Like you have to develop relationships with people, and like really like capitalize on that.
And going back to the judgment-free zone, just tell me, in the world we live in, it's hard right now. It's a lot of shit going on. A lot of people suffer from depression. A lot of people suffering from different shit. How does it feel to be able to take what you have going on in your outside life, go to a studio where it's judgment-free, and just let that all go creatively and not have to be judged for it, not have to be told, this is the wrong way, that's the wrong way? How does that feel in terms of brotherhood and just being able to finally express all the shit that you got going on?
Amazing.
It's unbelievable. Everyone needs like a little escape. Some people, it's not, music isn't their passion, but they got some they can escape from. Their go-to place. But it's cool, man. It's nice to step in the studio. It's like a different universe.
Yeah, man.
Which I feel like you can't get, like the way a lot of people run their studios, like I said, once again, the paywalls, like you can't establish those types of environments because you're already coming in on like a business transaction, and maybe it could become like a personal thing later on that like you guys end up working one-on-one, but it doesn't start out that way, so I try to like once again change like the way studio sessions are done, like we can benefit out of this without like directly putting money in my pocket every single time, and that's what I tell everybody too. It's like, don't get me wrong, there are people who come there all the time and pay, but it's on the premise of like you're coming in with like your thing from the outside and you just want to pay me for my service of like mixing you or recording you or whatever, and you don't want to have any involvement with like collaborating with everybody else. But I think studios should be an environment where like artists can come in and go as they please, and like create to whatever level they want, because I'm dealing with people that like Mo have been doing it forever, and people like my boy Lil Dip who just started doing it, so it's like you have to almost be sensitive enough to like cater for like all those different dynamics,
Definitely.
Like people will doubt themselves and like second guess all the time, and instilling that confidence to like improve without like killing their own self-esteem, like
Yeah, I think also, the other question I have is, the stigma. Connecticut gets a bad stigma. I've been in the game for a long time.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I've done seen people cuss people out at shows. I've done some people boo artists. To be from this state and doing what you guys are doing, what do you feel like you want to prove to the state, or not necessarily prove to the state, but what do you feel like you guys got in store for the state that they haven't seen, and how are you guys going to get them to support you? Because it's hard out here to get them to fuck with you and be behind you.
That's a good question. I feel like moving forward with like love is the only way to like conquer that type of stuff, dude. Because it's like, obviously there's gonna be hate, but there's hate everywhere. I feel like everybody from Connecticut hates just because they want to do what you're doing and they can't do it. So it's just like, I don't know. But at the same time, like I've been around a lot of different circles, and the hate is only existing when like it's not to your face or it's far enough from your face. But as soon as people get up close, like nobody's hating.
No.
You feel me? Like when you really like go and talk to people who are like other artists and stuff and like this, you know, like nobody's gonna bash your music the way they're gonna bash your music like if they don't have to like
when the door closes.
Yeah, when the door closes, you know? So it's like, I mean, I don't think there's any way to really combat that, but I think we're gonna bring CT like a different, like I said, brotherhood. I feel like we're gonna be able to show them that like, yeah, like there's not only one type of sound that can come out of CT, and not everybody from here is like a hater.
Yeah,
you know, like
I feel that.
We can like do music on like a bigger, more like soulful scale than just like guns and like there's definitely going to be mentions of that stuff because I feel like to some degree like at least like me
where is
like
that
the people,
not at?
yeah,
you know that's influential to a lot of us.
You know,
what
like
I'm saying? So
it's just like the environment we kind of grew up in. You know, like there's hoods everywhere, bro.
Yeah,
you know,
what
like,
environment
hoods
doesn't?
everywhere.
You know?
And I mean that's what a lot of this music is based off of. You know, your living experience and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Music in general is at a standstill.
Yeah.
It's waiting to be changed.
Yeah.
But that's an idea that I had. Like, you know, my idea of you know, getting people, you know, to come in and see what we're doing is, you know, let them touch, you know, you know, no homo, like let them come in, you know, and like, let them, you know, be a part of it. You know what I mean? Like everybody, you know, we right here, you know, you could be hands on, like, you know, like it's not something that you just got to be back here and listen to, you know, like you can actually, if you got something to contribute, you know, you can be involved too, and we can support each other. You know, the support is really what Connecticut doesn't have. We don't support each other, you know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why I felt like it was important to come here, you know? Like the support
exactly.
Support is exactly. You know what I mean? Like
trying to change, we're changing the narrative right now.
I mean, here at the Standout Podcast, that's all I've been trying to do. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
change
like,
narrative.
And I'm feeling that. I'm feeling the support that you're doing. You're supporting people. You're supporting the state.
I appreciate you, man.
I've got love
you
for
know,
that.
And you know, the thing is I could sit here and be fake and be like, oh yeah, nah. I listened to the whole album. I did that. Like I told you, I don't remember a lot of the sounds. I don't remember a lot of the names. But I know when I listened to it, it made me feel good. So I definitely wanted you guys here. And obviously I know Andrew, but that's not enough to get you guys here, to have you guys sit here. The music has to speak for me. If it doesn't speak, why am I even here talking to you? That's hate in itself. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of all that, you know, Bendo, I'm calling y'all ft.Baharally.
Yeah, he coined it. He coined it. So, hey, it's official because when they look back, it's home.
Stamp it.
Ben has spoken.
Right. So as ft.Baharally, are y'all looking to add new members? Are y'all looking to do more stuff creatively? Like, what are you guys trying to dabble into differently this year, or maybe try to get into this year a little different?
I'm always open to collaborate with people, dude. I feel like adding new members is completely up to the person in question. You know, like I'm not like handing out applications, you know, but at the same time, like if you're willing to commit to like what we have going on and you like what we have going on and like
come with work.
Come with
work.
Feel me? It's
come with the work.
Yeah,
come with the work, you know.
Don't show up empty-handed.
Yeah, you know, don't. You know, there might be some writers in there for you, but you know, come knowing that you want that. You know,
it's like it's an open environment. You know, like I'm willing to work with like anybody who wants to work. You know, kind of thing. It's like,
you gotta have that mentality.
You know, but once again, you just gotta be willing to collaborate. And collaborating is not as easy as people want to make it seem. You know, like it takes genuine effort to be able to compromise. You know, keyword.
Some people rather not.
You know, like,
some people would rather be solo, and you know that's cool, but. You know, like you also, you know, we trying to get the thing working together. We trying to get the train going with, you know, with more than one car.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a bar right there. So individually right now, where can you guys tell me like where you're at musically, like what you want to improve on? I think that's the biggest thing. Because
I think, sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I think it's cool because we got our first EP out. We know that we can make good music. But now it's cool to sit back and be like, all right, this is good. Now, why is it good? But looking about like what makes sense to hit.
And I think, you know, maybe that's a better question to ask you guys. Now that you know it's good, now that you know it's out, now that you know it's out, what is left from here? Like what now that you have it, you have the baby, it's good, people are listening to it. what you know, obviously you said the visuals, obviously that, but now you guys know, okay, this motherfucker's good at 3. This dude's good in the post. This dude's good at calling the plays. So now when you put that all in place, what's the move like?
That's when the second album comes in. That's when the second EP comes in.
So we gotta wait for that.
That's when the second EP comes in. Yeah, we working on that. Because like you said, like we established the areas, you know. Right. It's still not even exact. It's still though, it's like the areas though, right. You know what I mean? So now we about to present that. We about to come with that. We working on that. Right. And we about to present that. But still, there's still more focus to be done though in that sector.
So when you think about Baharally going global, going to different states, doing all that stuff, because it's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen. Where do you guys feel like when do you guys feel like that will start happening? Do you feel like it's coming very soon, or do you feel like maybe you guys got to work on a little bit more, or when is the notion for that?
I think it'll come when we're ready, dude.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know. I don't really think about things like that. You know, like I don't really think about like when it's gonna happen. Right. I know it's gonna happen. Right. You know, and I try not to put myself in the frame of like giving myself deadlines and expectations, because sometimes when you don't hit those things, you can like depress yourself. Right. You know, but I already know that like I have something great here amongst like the people I have and the music we can make. You know, my main priority, and I guess my goal going forward as like a musician is really like focusing more on like the role that I have, you know, being like the leader or like the glue to like the group, you know, and like what that means, you know, because it came all at once for me, you know, like it was almost like a sporadic thing and then boom, it was here. So now like now I'm sitting in it, you know, and like having so many people like put their faith in you and trust you to that degree, it screws with your head, you know. It really does. It screws with your head, dude. It takes a little bit of time to get used to that, you know. Like
I witnessed it.
The power dynamic
it literally does. Yeah, it does. You know, like having people like actually have faith in you and you know it's real. It's like I can't let these people down. You know, like before it was just me. You know, it was just like, I'm doing this, you know, to make sure I'm straight. This is and that. Now I got like all these other people who are like, yeah, dude, like I'm willing to die behind that too. So let's die. You know, so it's like, so it's like, okay,
just kick me off the ledge.
Yeah, you know, so it's like, you know, getting used to that and that intensity and the tenacity that I try to bring to the group to keep things going, you know, to keep things in motion, to keep like the light alive, you know, to keep like the passion and the dream and the vision going. Cause like you said, it's great. I know it's going to hit people different when they start hearing about it, you know, and what that's going to mean for like, that's going to be an honor for me, but what that's going to mean for everybody else, I don't know, you know, like this is the group, you know, like you got to put your faith in like everybody like individually. But I know for me, it's like, I know the music that we make can change the world, you know? And until that is seen out, my job isn't done. Right. You know, what that means for anybody else is up to them.
Up to them. And this is probably one of my last questions for you guys. Making the name Baharally or ft.Baharally and knowing the significance that has to you being by your last name, you guys being his friends and everything like that, how hard do you push knowing that this is behind somebody's last name, somebody's legacy, something that they're leaving behind? And what was the decision that you guys made to even make that his last name?
Bro, that's my brother, bro. So to be representing his last name is like, it's come on, like how can you let him down? You know, like that's sort of how it is, but and then there's also the relaxation of the no judgment. You know what I mean? So it's kind of upon myself at that point. Like, you know, like I gotta come hard. When I come, it gotta be hard to me. Like, you know, it gotta be good for me, you know? So when I present it to them, you know, there's no fight in it, you know?
Yeah.
How about? I feel like that's the least I can do if being given the opportunity and the space. Right. Not a lot of people get that opportunity. To be able to even step inside the studio. So.
Yeah, definitely. So how about you, Andrew? The legacy you leaving, that last name is right in front.
It's crazy.
It's gonna be in bold letters right on that stage, sold out. Ft.Baharally, ft.Baharally, sold out. When you look at that name, how crazy does it feel right now?
It's crazy for me because I'm the last male heir of my last name. So if I don't have a son, it dies. You know, so it's like the fact that music for me and Baharally for me is immortality. You know, it's like it's being able to like exist forever. You know, and like I take it very sacred, you know, like who I bring along to like exist with me forever. You know, so it's like it's an honor that even one person would like care enough to be like represented behind my last name.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I mean. Like stepping into like that leadership role, it's like, it has to be do or die, and it has to mean everything to me. Because if it doesn't, it won't mean anything to anybody else.
Right.
You know, so it's like, it has to be something that I'm willing to like. Baharally is no longer like my last name. You know, it doesn't feel like my last name anymore. You know, it feels like something much bigger than that.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect that, you know, at first, but getting used to that too, you know, like that means something to somebody else now, besides just me and my family, you know? So I think, I don't know how it's gonna feel when I see it on. I don't know how it's gonna feel, you know. I really don't. And I, you know, but when that happens, I will be right back here to talk about that.
Definitely,
I can tell you that.
Man. Hopefully, I'm still here. I'm praying. We praying.
You will still be here.
Yeah,
you will still be here.
But listen, man, I just want to say, I'm gonna end it like this. You know, knowing you from high school, seeing how far you've translated, seeing the group of people you have behind you. You know, man. A lot of people was talking to me, and I'm gonna keep it real with you to your face. A lot of people was talking shit, saying, "Yo, he left college. He was wilding. Why the fuck would he do that? He was the smartest out of our class." And let me tell you something. What you're doing right here, man, you took it upon yourself. You took a risk, and I could say, man, you're doing the right thing with your life.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
Nobody will ever understand.
Yeah.
You know, like the vision and like the reality I exist in is like just beyond like comprehension for most people.
Right.
So it's like, I don't try to explain it, you know, and like the primitive minds will always question intellect.
Right.
So, you know, I just don't stoop to the level. You know, if you can't see the vision, then that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, like I knew what my purpose was, you know,
Wow.
and I knew it was beyond like going to college or, you know, I was always a smart kid, you know, and I feel like I was self-aware of my own intellect.
Right.
So that gave me an edge because I knew I had to use it for something greater.
Right.
You know, I had to try to change the world at least.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like it would be a waste, you know, of my own talents to not try to do something like on that scale.
Yeah.
So, you know, to everybody else who doubts, like, just wait, buddy.
We'll see you at the top.
We'll just wait.
You probably won't make it, but we'll try to see it there. Or we'll wave from you. We'll wave to you from the top. You know what I'm saying? But listen, man, this has been a standout podcast. ft.Baharally came through. The boy Moji.
From the shadows.
The boy Baharally.
To the
the boy
light.
Chuck.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, man. Listen, go pick up the album. You save the name because I fucked it up the first time.
Super salad.
Super salad.
It's just super salad. Like super salad, but super salad.
Go get the album. The album is fucking crazy. These dudes are so fucking talented. I want to thank my boy Andrew for coming through. Thank you for lacing us. You already know what this is. This is a standout podcast where everyone and anyone could be a standout. And I got to plug the place that I'm at. 171 Orange Street, New Haven, Connecticut.
You
the
don't
Pie
know.
Lounge.
CT.
Studio Red Dre. They got the performances popping. And listen, man, we're in the midst of a renaissance. Look at who I got here.
Facts.
This is all new CT.
Look at the faces, man.
Yeah,
Look
get used to it.
Look at the faces, man.
Yeah, get used to it.
Look at what I'm
You're
bringing
gonna
y'all.
be seeing us more.
Give me some fucking credit. All right.
Yeah, Austin got me outside. You already know that's crazy.
All right, man. It's all love. Peace.